All right, let's dig in. Today we're going deep on land systems.
Fascinating topic, really.
It is. We've got chapter 12 from a big report all about how we use land, how healthy our soil is, all that.
And of course, how to do it all sustainably, that's the key these days.
Exactly. I feel like most people, me included, take land for granted.
Yeah, I get that. It's just there, right?
Right. But this report says over 70% of Earth's land has been, changed by humans already.
70%. Wow.
Really makes you think, what's that actually mean for the planet?
Big implications, that's for sure. It's not just the sheer amount of land either.
So like knock-on effects.
Exactly, like changing water cycles, messing up habitats, even impacting climate change.
Okay, getting a bit heavy now. This report really hits hard on deforestation.
Yeah, it's a major issue.
They say we're losing forest cover, get this, the size of 27 soccer fields every minute.
Every minute.
That's what they say. Imagine like a whole soccer game and poof, another forest gone.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Definitely does. So what's causing all this deforestation? Logging, right?
Logging's a part of it for sure, but there's a huge demand for land, for agriculture. That's a big driver.
Agriculture, you mean like farms?
Farms, yeah, but think scale, like soybean production for animal feed and palm oil.
Palm oil. That stuff's in everything, isn't it?
Pretty much. From cookies to cosmetics, you name it.
Wow, never thought my shampoo was contributing to deforestation.
It's a complex issue with consequences beyond just losing trees, too.
Like what?
Well, take the Amazon rainforest. It's a huge carbon sink, absorbs tons of CO2.
The lungs of the earth, right?
Exactly. But as we lose rainforest, we lose that carbon-absorbing power.
And that speeds up climate change.
It's a vicious cycle, and the Amazon's nearing a tipping point.
Tipping point? Meaning like it could change completely.
Yeah, it could turn into something more like a savanna.
That's scary, isn't it? A whole ecosystem just gone.
And it's not just the environment. Deforestation impacts people, too.
Oh, right, like indigenous communities and stuff.
Exactly. It can displace them, worsen poverty, even lead to conflict over resources.
All connected, isn't it?
Very much so.
Okay, so we've got deforestation. What about urban sprawl? Cities keep growing.
Rapid urbanization, it's a trend everywhere.
This report says by 2050, 2/3 of us will be city dwellers.
That's a lot of concrete.
So how does that tie into land systems? More buildings, less open space, I guess?
It's more than just the physical space cities take up. It's the impact they have even on land far away.
You mean like pollution and stuff?
Pollution's a part, but think resources. Food, water, energy.
The cities need a lot of resources.
They do, and that puts pressure on land systems far beyond the city limits.
Like to grow all that food, you need farmland, right?
Exactly, and transportation networks get everything in and out.
So cities have this huge footprint, even if we don't see it directly.
Exactly, and the way we design our cities matters a lot, too.
Design? You mean like the buildings and roads?
Yeah, sprawling suburbs with big houses and lots of cars, they're way less efficient than dense, walkable cities.
Walkable cities with good public transport, those are more sustainable.
Way more. They use less land, less energy, less of everything, really.
Interesting stuff. Makes you think about where you choose to live, huh?
Definitely food for thought for all of us.
So we covered how we're using the land, but what about the land itself?
Yeah, the report goes into soil health next.
Honestly, I don't think much about what's going on under my feet,
Out of sight, out of mind, right.
Exactly. But soil, it's more than just dirt, isn't it?
Oh, way more. It's a whole ecosystem alive with like billions of microorganisms.
Billions. In like a handful of soil.
Easy. It's essential for everything. Plant growth, clean water, even the climate.
Wow. So soil degradation, that's a bad thing, obviously.
It's a big problem. Kind of a silent crisis.
Silent. How so?
We don't always see the impacts right away, but unsustainable farming, deforestation, pollution, it all takes a toll.
Toll on the soil, you mean?
Yeah, like depleting nutrients, eroding the good topsoil, compacting the ground. It all adds up.
And we're losing soil faster than it can come back naturally.
That's the issue. It's like we're running down a non-renewable resource.
And this report mentions desertification, too. That sounds really bad.
It is essentially fertile land turning into desert.
Like the Dust Bowl, that kind of thing?
Kind of, but it's happening globally. Overgrazing, bad farming practices, they strip the soil, leave it vulnerable.
And then poof, desert.
Pretty much, it can displace communities, cause food shortages, even worsen climate change.
Man, that's bleak.
It is serious, but the report does talk about solutions, sustainable land management.
Okay, so less doom and gloom. more solutions.
Exactly. It's about changing how we think from exploiting the land to being responsible for it.
Working with nature, not against it.
Exactly. There are some cool examples out there.
Like what?
Agroforestry, for one, that's integrating trees into farmland.
Trees on farms, how does that work?
Provides shade for crops, helps the soil, can even give farmers more income.
So rows of corn with like trees mixed in.
Something like that, mimicking nature's diversity,
Depends. What else?
Regenerative agriculture, that's getting popular.
I've heard of that. What makes it so special?
It's not just about keeping yields up. It's about actually improving the soil, making it healthier.
So less chemicals, more natural processes.
Exactly, working with the soil's natural biology.
Okay, what about livestock? This report said overgrazing is bad.
It can be, yeah, but there are ways to graze sustainably.
Like what? Keeping fewer animals.
That helps, but rotational grazing is another technique.
What's that?
Moving the animals around, mimicking their natural patterns.
So like giving the land a break, time to recover.
Exactly. It's all about balance, finding that sweet spot.
These solutions sound great, but are they enough? Are people actually doing this stuff?
That's the big question. There are pockets of success, but we need a bigger shift.
A shift in, like, our thinking.
Thinking, yeah, but also policy, economics, the whole system.
So it's not just about farmers changing their methods. It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. We need to change how we value food, how we support agriculture, the whole picture.
Sounds like a challenge.
It is, but there's a lot of potential too.
We've talked about how we use land, how we degrade it, how to do it better. Where do we even go from here?
This report talks about planetary boundaries. Maybe that's a good next step.
Planetary boundaries, huh? Sounds kind of sci-fi.
A bit, but it's about understanding the limits of what our planet can handle.
Limits on, like, pollution, resources, that kind of thing.
Exactly. There's only so much pressure Earth can take before things start to go wrong, really wrong.
Okay, planetary boundaries, this is where it gets real sci-fi, right? Like some invisible shield around Earth.
Haha, not quite a shield, but it is a pretty powerful concept.
So what are they, these boundaries?
They're like the safe operating space for humans, for all of us on this planet.
Safe operating space, meaning?
Like how much we can mess with Earth systems before things get really bad.
Mess with systems, meaning like pollution, climate change, stuff like that.
Exactly. Things like climate change, biodiversity loss, the nitrogen cycle, all these interconnected processes.
And we've got limits on how much we can impact those.
We do. It's like a set of dials, each one representing a different Earth system.
And if we push those dials too far?
We risk breaking things, basically.
Breaking things as in?
Like triggering irreversible changes, tipping points that make Earth less hospitable, less livable.
Okay, that's not good. And the report says we're already pushing past some of these boundaries, right?
We are. Some of those dials are already in the red zone.
Red zone, yikes. So what happens then?
It's not a pretty picture. We're talking more extreme weather, rising sea levels, crop failures, mass extinctions, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. And all because we pushed those dials too far.
It's all connected, remember. Earth's a complex system, and we're part of it.
Right. So it's not just about saving the planet. It's about saving ourselves, too.
Exactly. Our well-being depends on a healthy planet. Can't have one without the other.
So what do we do? Is it too late to, like, pull back from the edge?
I wouldn't say it's too late, but we need to act, and fast.
Act how? What needs to happen?
It's not enough to just tweak things. We need a fundamental shift, a transformation.
Transformation. That sounds big. What does that even look like?
Imagine our energy coming from renewables. Imagine food systems that actually regenerate the environment. Imagine cities designed for people, not cars.
That's a pretty big vision. How do we get there?
It starts with acknowledging the problem. The status quo just isn't sustainable.
Okay, so step one, admit we have a problem.
Then we need to challenge those narratives, the ones that prioritize endless growth, endless consumption.
Right, those stories we tell ourselves about progress and, well, more stuff.
Exactly. We need new stories, ones that value sustainability, resilience, balance.
So, new stories. What else?
We need to invest in innovation, in research, in finding new ways to do things.
Like new technologies, new farming practices, new ways to build cities.
All of that. And we need to empower communities, give them the tools and resources to create change from the ground up.
Local solutions, local action, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And of course, we need policies that incentivize sustainability, make it the easier, smarter choice.
So it's not just about individual actions like recycling or whatever. It's systemic change we need.
Absolutely. Individual actions matter, but they're not enough on their own. We need to shift the whole system.
That's a big ask, isn't it?
It is, but it's necessary. We're talking about the future of our planet, our future.
Technology's got to play a role here, right? Can tech be part of the solution?
Technology's a tool. It can be used for good or bad.
So like fossil fuels versus renewable energy, that kind of thing.
Exactly. We need tech that supports sustainability, renewable energy, efficient agriculture, circular economy models.
Circular economy, that's about reusing and recycling, right?
Yeah, designing products and systems that minimize waste, close the loop.
So it's not just about new gadgets, it's about designing things differently.
Exactly. And ultimately, it comes down to values, the values that drive our innovation, our choices, our actions.
Values like sustainability, community, long-term thinking.
Exactly. Shifting from a mindset of domination to one of stewardship. That's the key.
Wow, we've covered a lot, from the tiniest microbes in the soil to the fate of the planet.
It's all connected. That's the takeaway, really.
What's the one thing you hope people will remember from this deep dive?
That we have the power to choose, to create a different future, one that works for both people and the planet.
A future where we're not pushing those planetary boundaries to the limit.
Exactly. A future where we thrive within those limits, in balance with nature.
That's a great message, a hopeful one. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed this conversation.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some food for thought and maybe even inspired you to take action.
Remember, every choice we make, every action we take can contribute to a more sustainable future.
So let's keep learning, keep questioning, keep pushing for change. Until next time, keep diving deep